What's up, guys? Working on straight bar deadlift today. If you've seen the trap bar deadlift video, very similar to that. A couple minor changes and a couple little different things we'll touch on. But very similar to our trap bar deadlift. The very first thing that we're gonna work on is setup. So Connor, if you wanna come on over here, we wanna keep center of mass and center of weight middle of the foot, right? We're trying to keep it back towards the heel, but centered in the feet. We do not want to let that weight get out in front of us. You'll see a lot of people come set up and that bar is over the toes. We're going to end up rounding that upper back, getting into a really bad position. So we want to make sure that the bar is over the middle of the foot, fairly close to the shins. And this is going to be a little bit different for everybody based off of how, long your foot is, short your foot is, different lever lengths and angles, things like that. But mine sits an inch or two away from my shins. Connor, you can go ahead and step back over there. All right, centered in the foot. There we go. From there, we're going through our bracing routine. Again, very similar to the trap bar deadlift. I like to start by bracing from the top. It's much easier to keep the spine in a very neutral position. Once you get to the bottom, if we're rounded, we see a lot of people tend to keep that back rounded. They're not able to properly adjust into a good neutral spine. So it's much easier to just set up from the top and work your way down to the bar. Just like good hip hinge pattern, we're driving those hips back, keeping the weight centered in the toes, so we don't want to see the toes come off the floor, right? Reaching back, I'm going to keep my eyes forward and down. I prefer about a 30 to 45 degree downward angle. Everybody's a little different, so you can keep the eyes up a little bit more if you want, but we don't want to get into too much cervical extension at the bottom. It's going to pull the knees forward and become more of a squat pattern. Oh, got to readjust. So big breath at the top, going through our bracing pattern. Core tight, lowering nice and slow. Grabbing that bar about shoulder width. We're keeping the bar nice and close to the body, so you're gonna see it almost drags up my shins. We're not gonna let it get away from our shin and pull us forward. All right, puts a severe amount of strain through the lower back. We wanna keep this weight centered in the hips as much as possible, keeping as much shearing forces off of our spine. All right, a couple different options as far as grip. I prefer, so we'll use this bar to kind of demonstrate. I encourage double overhand as often as possible, just to work on straight grip strength. If you got a decent bar, it's gonna tend to roll though. So athletes who are struggling with grip, they can, increase a little extra grip work, whether that's just holds or things like that. Or they can flip to a reverse grip. So reverse grip, we're just flipping one of the hands. We're keeping the hands in the same place. We're flipping that way. As the bar tries to roll this way in my left hand, it's trying to roll opposite in my right, and allows it to sink in, making sure that it's not going one way or the other. You're able to hold a bunch more weight. The only thing with that is you're gonna wanna alternate as you go through your sets, because supinating and pronating your hands differently in deadlift is going to create imbalances if you stick with it on one side more than the other. So we're just trying to keep the body as balanced as possible. The last option, you'll see it for Olympic weightlifters, it's called hook grip. All right, so if we're teaching a hang clean, if you want to come actually from like behind a little bit and show. So a traditional overhand would be here, right? We're wrapping the fingers and then thumb around the fingers. Hook grip, we're wrapping that thumb, trying to smash that bar deep into that recess here. Thumb around first, and then we're actually gonna hang on to the thumb. It hurts really bad. It's awful, but it works great. And it allows you to keep both those hands double overhand, so you're not worrying about imbalances or anything like that. Yeah,